Some incidents in our lives are so important, even after many years, we keep on recalling them. He wanted to earn some money. So, whatever was possible, he was trying that. And in that possibilities, this was one, to teach English to the migrant laborers. Someone has taken away my wallet. I have got pickpocketed. I don't have money. Hello everyone, this is Shobita S. Aradhya, lecturer, Department of English, Vidyashram Pre-University College, Mysuru, a temple of excellence. Welcome to this session. Today we are going to discuss about another prose, Oru Manushyan. Surprised to listen to the title? Yes, it is Oru Manushyan, a man. The story was written by the Malayali writer, but later it was translated to English. But as they saw, the originality of the title Oru Manushyan was more effective, they tried to keep it the same and it remained the same. Oru Manushyan instead of a man in English. So let us move on to the chapter. Story Oru Manushyan is written by Vaikom Muhammad Bashir, and he is a well-known Malayalam short story writer and a novelist. He is known for his sympathetic portrayal of joys and sorrows of life. He, in his stories, has written both joys and sorrows of life. He is a recipient of Central Sahitya Academy Award and Padma Shri in 1982. So this is about the writer of this story, Vaikom Muhammad Bashir. He was a Malayalam short story writer and a novelist. This story, before we start, let me ask you something. Have you ever had an experience where you were helped by a stranger or you were put into a problem by a stranger? You must have gone through that, isn't it? This story is very similar to that, something about a person who is put into the problem by a stranger and later a stranger helps him to find a solution. Okay. How would you defend yourself in a distant land when neither you nor the local people understand each other's language? What would you do if you were put in a situation where nobody knows your language and even you do not know their language? There is a problem, isn't it? So here in this story, the narrator himself, he is in a problem. This is the first person narration in this story. You have no definite plans. You are wandering around far away from home. You have no money with you. You did not know the local language. You can speak English and Hindustani. Hindustani means Hindi. You can speak English and Hindustani, but very few people know either of those languages. This can land you in many predicaments. Many adventures can befall you. Now, what is predicaments? Predicaments is danger. You may fall in danger. So, you don't have any definite plan. You don't know what you are going to do there in that place. And you are wandering around, roaming here and there. Roaming from one place to other place is wandering. Wandering, wandering. You are far from home. You don't have your dear ones with you. You are far from home. You have no money with you. Very importantly, you have no money with you. And the other problems, you did not know the local language. If you are dropped in a place where they speak completely different language from you, what you speak, you will be in a problem. You know English and Hindustani. Today, English is a common language known all over the world. But this story is about the olden days when English was not known to everyone. So he was knowing Hindustani, that is Hindi, and English. But the people of that locality, of that region, weren't knowing English. Only few knew English or Hindi. All these can make you land in a danger, that is predicament, or they may befall you. So you will be in a problem, greater problem with all these with you. No money, distant land, people don't know your language, you don't know their language, and you are far from your dear ones. So in this situation, what happens? How the narrator is facing all this? You find yourself caught in a dangerous situation. A total stranger rescues you. Even after years pass by, you will sometimes remember the man and wonder why he did so. Yes, some incidents in our lives are so important, even after many years, we keep on recalling them. So here the stranger helps the narrator when he is in a dangerous situation. Let us say it is I, not who remembers the man. Yes, the narrator is telling, let us say I. So from here the narration starts. Okay, it is by the first person narrator. From here the narration starts. So he says, let us say it I, not you. Definitely it has to be the narrator who will narrate us about the experience what he had. I am now narrating an experience which I had. So he starts very formally. I am narrating a story, experience which I had. I have some vague notions about human beings. Vague notions, some weird beliefs. Okay. Everyone has some beliefs about human beings. So this narrator also had a belief, that is including myself, including him. There are around me good men and thieves, those who suffer from various infections and diseases, and from madness. One has to live carefully. So, do you think, is there any link with good men, thieves are contrasting, and who suffer from various infections, diseases, and madness? Correct? Is it confusing you? Yes. Here the narrator tries to tell us that he has experienced with all those people who were good and who were thieves, and also who suffered from infections and diseases. This is common. We find people around us who have some disease or are suffering from some infections. But from madness, what kind of madness? That we'll understand when we read the story. One has to live carefully. Definitely, we all have to be very careful. The world has more evil than good. Do you agree with this? Good people say, no, the world is very good. And who have experienced, they say, no, the world is full of evil. We realize this only after we get hurt. So the narrator says here, we realize that the world is full of evil when we are hurt. So let me record here that incident which was perhaps quite insignificant. So this incident that the narrator experienced is quite insignificant. It is not that important, or the other people did not notice much in this incident, but the narrator has something to tell us. It was quite a big city in the valley of mountain, some 1,500 miles from home, the inhabitants of which had never been known for quality of mercy. Here is a problem. The narrator is around 1,500 miles far from his hometown. 1,500 miles is a very far distance. And the inhabitants, the local people of that region, they were never been known for quality of mercy. Mercy is a thing, virtue which every human has to have. But here the narrator has experienced something very ill, very bad, that he is telling the people of that region, they didn't had any mercy. They were a cruel people. He says they were very cruel people. Murder, robbery, pickpocketing, these were daily occurrences. So, murder and pickpocketing, also robbery was a common thing. It used to occur every day as if it was routine of the people. By tradition, people were professional soldiers. By tradition, people were professional soldiers means here their father or these people were soldiers, but now they have turned themselves into thieves, pickpocketers, or the murderers. Situation might have made them come like this. Some of them went to distant places and lent out money on interest. Those who were good among these people, they went to distant places and lent out money on interest. So, giving money to collect interest from the needy people. Many others served as watchmen in banks, mills, and large commercial establishments in the big cities. So, some other they were working as watchmen in the banks or the commercial establishments in big cities, because we find banks, mills, and large commercial establishments in cities where they will need a watchman to look after their property. Money was highly valued by them. These people valued money very highly. For money, they would do anything, even commit a murder. So we can recall the word with no mercy. Quality of mercy was not there among these people. So they were ready to do anything for money. Anything in the sense, even to murder any person, they were ready if they were supposed to get some money for that. So they were not hesitant to kill a person. I stayed in that city. So from this paragraph, the narrator says what he was doing in that city, where he was living. Okay. I stayed in that city in a very small, dingy room on a dirty street. Very small and dingy room. It is not clean. A dirty room in a dirty street. So here the narrator says he was not comfortable. He was not in a room which he wished to be. The reasons we'll know later. I carried on a profession there. So he was on a job. He carried a profession. What profession was it? It was teaching English to some migrant laborers from 9:30 till 11 in the night. Who are the migrant laborers? The laborers who have come from other parts of the country to work there, or the other parts of that state. They are called migrant laborers, and for them he was teaching English, and the timing was from 9:30 till 11 in the night. It was in the night time, not the mornings, because they are laborers. They need to work the whole day. Their free time was only in the night. So he was teaching them English from 9:30 till 11 in the night. I taught them to write addresses in English. What was he teaching in English? Not the whole of the English, not the literature. He was teaching them to write their address. Okay. Learning to write an address in English was considered great education there. So, why even the laborers were learning after the tiresome day? Why did they come at night to learn English? Because learning to write address in English was considered great there. So, it was greatest thing to learn. So, people came to him to learn English. You must have seen people who write addresses at the post office. Have you seen people writing address? You won't see now because you don't even visit a post office. Everything you do on the tip of your finger. Everything you do with the electronic gadgets. But those days, the people used to go to post office to post, to write a letter and post, or to send money, or to collect money. For each and everything, people used to go to the post office. Now, here we can see that in those days, people used to earn by writing addresses on the posts. Okay, postal envelopes. The address has to be written on it. To write address on the envelopes, the people used to collect money. That varied from 1 anna and 4 annas for writing an address. So 1 anna, you don't even be knowing what is 1 anna, isn't it? It is the part of 1 rupee. You people hardly use 1 rupee now. Everything starts with more than 10 rupees. So it was annas, the paises together. Okay. I taught the skill of writing addresses to people in order to escape the same fate myself and to see if I could save some money. So he wanted a job to do. He wanted to earn some money. So whatever was possible, he was trying that. And in that possibilities, this was one, to teach English to the migrant laborers. Not the complete English, it is only to write the address in English. So he started teaching this to the migrant laborers. And what was the routine of the narrator? He said he needs to earn some money. He is in search of a job, where he got this job to teach English, to write the address to the migrant laborers. So let us see what was he doing there. What was his routine? In those days, I would sleep all day and wake up at 4 in the evening. This was to save the expense of drinking morning tea or eating the noon meal. He used to sleep all day and wake up 4 in the evening. Is he lazy? No, he is not lazy. He doesn't have money to spend it on his morning tea. For him, morning tea and noon meal was also a luxury. It was not necessity, it was luxury to him. So to skip that, if he is awake, he will feel hungry and he may feel to drink tea. So he slept all the day. Anyhow, he was teaching from 9:30 to 11 in the night. So he used to go to bed late, and mornings he used to lay on the bed so that he can skip the morning tea and the noon meal. One day, I got up at 4 p.m. as usual. As usual, he got up at 4 in the evening. I finished my daily course and stepped out for my tea and a meal. After 4 o'clock, he finished all his course at home. So, can be a bachelor or a family person, there will be some course, work to be done at home. He finished all those and stepped out for his tea and a meal. You must understand that I was dressed in a suit. He was wearing a suit, very formal dress. I had a wallet in my coat pocket. I had 14 rupees in it, my life's savings at that time. So, he was dressed in a suit and he had a wallet in his coat pocket, and that wallet had 14 rupees. How much? 14 rupees, and that 14 rupees was his life's savings at that time. That was the money, all he could save till his time, till that time. Only 14 rupees. Now do you understand why did he skip his morning tea and the noon meal? Yes, because he was not earning much money. He was in the distant place. So, to skip all this and to save himself from any other danger, he did all this. I entered a crowded restaurant. I ate a full meal consisting of chapatis and meat curry. I drank tea as well. The bill came to 11 annas. So, everything here is on annas, not the rupees. So this caption shows you there happened a pickpocket. Yes. He entered a crowded restaurant. Why crowded? He would have gone to any other restaurant to eat peacefully. His problem was he was not having much money. So he entered a crowded restaurant and ate full meal. What did full meal consist of? Full meal consists of chapatis and meat curry. Okay, so this was his full meal. He ate stomach full. He drank tea as well, and the bill came to 11 annas, less than rupees. Yes, 11 annas. I put my hand in my coat pocket to pay it. I put my hand in my coat pocket to pay it. I began sweating profusely and almost digested in an instant all that I had eaten. So, what happened? He put his hand in the pocket to take out the wallet and pay the bill. He started sweating profusely. He was completely sweating and almost digested in an instant all that I had eaten. So he had eaten full meal, chapatis and meat curry, and also he had his tea. So everything got digested very soon as he found that he is not getting his wallet in the pocket. The reason was my wallet was not there. So his lifetime's saving, 14 rupees, and the wallet was not there in the pocket. He had kept that in his suit pocket. It was not there. I said, someone has picked my pocket and taken away my wallet. He said, someone has taken away my wallet. I have got pickpocketed. I don't have money. How would you face this kind of a situation? Now, in this era, you have currency in your mobile phones. Transaction of money is very easy now. It can be on the tip of your finger and in seconds. But those days, it was not that easy. People used to carry the cash with them always. And if a pickpocketer finds money in somebody's pocket, he was a rich person that day. So now the narrator is in a greater trouble. Whatever he had saved, he has earned, all that has gone now. He is not having his wallet in the suit. So today's session will recapitulate whatever we have learned. The narrator goes to a distant place to work, and there he gets a job of teaching English, that too writing address to migrant laborers. They are migrant laborers. They can't pay much to the narrator. So he finds himself very difficult in that situation. He sleeps till 4 o'clock in the evening so that he can skip the morning tea and the noon meal. He is staying in a dirty street in a dingy room, and he comes to a hotel one day, to a restaurant to eat his evening meal. He eats full meal, which consists of chapati and meat curry, and also he drinks tea after the meal. And when it was time to pay the bill, it was about some annas. So that time he finds that he is not having his wallet in his pocket. So he comes to know, he realizes that his wallet was pickpocketed. Now what will he do? Will the restaurant keeper spare narrator, or how the narrator will escape from this situation? If you were in this situation, what would you do? Please comment it in the comment box. Let us know what you would do. Remember, you don't have mobiles in your hand. You don't have the e-currency transaction. You are with no money and no contact of people. The other people do not know your language. In that situation, what would you do? This was what we learned today from the lesson Oru Manushyan. And in the next session, we'll continue with the remaining part of Oru Manushan, and we'll find out who was that who stole the narrator's pocket, and how the narrator was rescued from this kind of situation. Till then, take care. Bye-bye. Thank you.